Hello. Hope you're having a good day. Thank you. We're just drawing some buildings today, or trying to get better at drawing buildings. Um, well, the main thing I want to go for right now is war torn buildings. So I've been looking at a lot of like war torn, maybe almost Transylvanian buildings, or even Victorian. I guess I'm going for more decrepit, crusty buildings, ones that have like a bit more character. If that makes sense. Right now I'm just looking up some decent reference images. Stick with that for now. Well, actually, I got one more thing to put up here. A lot of images. I'm not gonna have too much room to draw. No, that's definitely a good idea. Good starting point. I think that I'm gonna go for like similar to what you're saying, basic shapes for the building, and then sort of build on to that from there. A bit smaller. Okay, let's start drawing. Can't hold these. Gonna not worry too much about it right now. Just putting some stuff on the page. I've been thinking of the project and where exactly I want to go with it and like the main time frame and current state of affairs. And the more and more I think about it, the more I get more comfortable with like a post-war setting. Mm. Well, it's not good, but it's enough to get the stage fright out. I don't know, I guess I'm thinking about these building across a war-torn countryside, kind of like World War One style, um, more European in style, inspired homes and buildings. I like the idea of like the bugle shaped roofs. I'm sure there's a real name for that. Hmm. Let's just draw a building with minimal damage. I'm not going to worry too much about perspective right now. Bring this down here. All good. Thanks for joining us. You know, I'm going to stay away from the undo button. I think that'll help. It does not need to be perfect right now. It's the main thing that I have to realize. Let's see. Let's make this look like some little wood bars coming out. It's pretty cool. I love the look of these like twisted, kind of leaning to one side sort of buildings. Almost like Jack Skellington's house. That Tim Burton esque style of architecture. I'd like to incorporate a bit of that while still maintaining some kind of like semi realism. This is looking pretty neat. Okay. Play shapes. Shape tool. I hate it. I don't like the shape tool. This is kind of my first thought of how to draw when I want to draw buildings. Very crappy looking lines, slowly building something. That's how I draw a lot of things. It almost looks exhausted. Looking at some of these. Put a few little windows in here. It was like built into a different building. That building had a little tower. Yeah, this is a weird one. There's got to be a smarter way to do this. More references. Okay. this time. Buried in rubble. Hmm. I always avoid drawing buildings. Just very intimidated by them. I feel almost like I'm cheating by drawing them already destroyed. Hey, John Stonk. Gonna look at some pictures of old homes. Oh, well, thank you. You know, I I worry that a lot of it is coming off as not very organized, or that it just doesn't seem very cohesive. So it makes me feel good that people are enjoying it. Apologize for my little cough here. I don't know what's going on. I don't think I'm dying. Well, thank you. Um, I actually have been thinking about how I want to tie all this stuff together, like all these elements I've put on the table, and I keep going back to some kind of war happening, but I feel like a war is, you know, a wartime setting is something I see a lot. It's really cool. I really like it, but it's I just see it a lot. So I've been focusing on post-war, like a war between a lot of the factions I've established, and the war, like the present day being after that war, sometime after that. That way, you have all these factions from different parts of the territories all in one place. Yeah, ruined world, a ruined uh, good few thousand miles at least. That's not how perspective works. Get that roof out of here. Doesn't worry too. Doesn't matter too much if it's wrong. The perspective matters is that it looks right. Is it passable? Not yet, but we're getting there. Hmm. You know, ever since I started the setting, I always wanted there to be some little spark of hope. Um, I don't want it. I love grimdark. I love dark fantasy, and I want it to be grim and horrific and dark. But I think small acts of human kindness will show through in some ways in this setting. You know, like in a war torn landscape, maybe some like a an old survivor turning over some food so that a child can eat, or small moments of joy, a clear sky on in a normally stormy, disgusting landscape. Little things that shine through. You know, when you ask that question, my first thought is Trench Crusade, and how, like, I think that someone on Twitter or something had asked the creators if there was any hope, and they just said no. Like, I appreciate just how confident they are in that. Itty bitty fence. I don't know what could fit inside here. Maybe like a little garden, a little herb garden. Hey Nathan, how you doing, man? Yeah, um, I guess that I don't know. I try to see their perspective. I mean, apparently 1/3 of humanity has converted to Satanism, so that I can see why there's no hope. But it is kind of like it's going to make it a little hard for them to write books if they decide to do that. That being said, I love Trench Crusade. The art direction, it's so good. Even like the lore of all the creatures and the designs, some of them are so wacky. I'm doing good, Nathan. Um, I want to try streaming more, so I decided to just start it up tonight. You know, it'll probably keep me more on track to getting stuff done. The real question is, do they have satellite TV in Tarun? Or localized air conditioning? This one I'm doing right now. Well, this guy right here, I'm just going off of a reference that I have on the screen. I looked up an old house, uh, so I'm not totally sure. As for this one, this is the ruins of an old church in World War One. Not sure where. Maybe like France. A little statue right here, huh? It's pretty cool. You're an architecture major. I had thought about getting. I thought about being an architect for a while, but I guess that I'm not a big fan of rulers or math, so it's probably not for me. Um, that's awesome though. How long you been doing that for? Geometric proportion. Hmm. I should look into that. Maybe it'll help me a bit with designing. Oh no, it's fine, John. Like I haven't been able to tell any mistakes. I'd say your English is great. Ratios. Oh yeah, just like I don't know, the way you describe it reminds me of coding. I'm currently taking some classes in coding, and it's pretty similar stuff. Just like punching in formulas to get what you want. Oh yeah, like no, that must be a difficult thing in law, especially I've heard of people representing clients they know are guilty, and then like you kind of have to choose, well, do It's a big ethical dilemma. Do I want to truly try and defend this person that I know is guilty, or you know, take a loss? I can barely wrap my head around coding. Um, we've been doing some pretty simple stuff in my first semester, like just learning HTML websites and cascading style sheets. Just basically like making a resume website page with little links and pictures, changing how they look. Simple stuff. I can't do JavaScript to save my life though. Old Transylvanian homes. This is what I need. This is the reference I've been looking for. Imagine if you showed it to the Inquisition. My ass is gonna get stoned. Really? Yeah, I guess I just have like a basic mainstream understanding of the Inquisition. And I'm a bit of a nerd, so like I know more about the Warhammer Inquisition than the real one. Well, at least evidence was a thing. Hmm. It looks like a McDonald's. Okay. Joseph D. I'll go ahead and open a tab about that so I can look at some stuff on it later. Letters. The position. Thanks for the recommendation. Let's see. Yep. Right now, the drawing I'm doing is like practice. I'm like, I don't even have like a clear idea of what I'm doing right now other than putting blocks on a screen. Philosophical inquiry to the origin ideas of the sublime and beautiful. That's a mouthful. Because it deals. Yeah. It's pretty cool if it covers that, I guess, like, so it goes into, like, why we like these things, or just what they mean. Very British indeed. Ooh. Is it really wordy? It sounds really wordy. $17.57. Oh, yeah, I appreciate it. No, and I have like the tabs open, so I'll be looking at these. I always appreciate people giving me feedback and ideas. So I appreciate that a lot. Hmm. Thinking I might look up a few tutorials a little later. See some people online drawing this kind of stuff. Okay, now that we've like warmed up a bit with some little sketches and whatnot, I want to try putting a little bit more effort into this next one. So let me find a good reference. Might try to add some of my own wear and tear to this one as well. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble finding a reference all of a sudden. Okay, here's something. Here's something. It's very cat. No, yeah, I'm just I was just talking about how I want to put a bit more effort into this next drawing because up until now I've just been goofing around. And there's this neat tower behind it. Let me actually change the opacity on these. Bring this over a little bit. There we go. It's about the midpoint. That looks about right for the midpoint. I used to be very obsessive over uh, over proportions and perspective and making sure that everything was the size it was supposed to be, but that's just such a good way to, I guess, I don't want to say waste time because obviously it can help doing that, but it was driving me nuts. Let's see. Of course, once I flip the canvas, I'll see all the issues. Let's bring that about right there. Actually, that looks better. A little taller. Oh, it's all right, Nathan. Have a good day. Yes, it is. Um, I spent a lot of time practicing with it, so I feel pretty confident about like a good portion of it. Oh, really? Well, dang, yeah, I love burial goods. Man, thanks for that. Did you like email it to him or message him? Oh, very neat. Well, thank you. Small world, man. Small world. Get you some chocolate, man. You've earned it. What kind of chocolate you got? Oh, neat stuff. Yeah, it was pretty warm today for me. I'm in the States. I'm sure you can tell by my hillbilly accent. One mug to stay awake. One mug to rule them all. Yeah, my southern draw comes out around my family. I really want to go to New York. We've been trying to plan a trip, but hasn't worked out lately. Um, Seems really neat. That's what I've heard. like um just like tends to be more, I guess, friendly. Like ask like like there's a thing where that we say here that's like, "Hey, how are you?" And you're not actually asking how are you. It's just a greeting. And I feel like down south, how are you is a genuine question, and maybe up north, it's just a greeting. I could be just talking out of my butt though. Sweet. Um, that must be cool. That must have been cool, like to have an experience like that. Just like going to different countries. Hmm. That that go. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, I'm unsure, like if I've ever heard of him. But also I didn't do too well in school. If I'm being honest, I did not happen to pay attention. I don't know. I guess like what would that fall under? Like the social glue thing? Would that fall under like philosophy or anthropology? It sounds like a philosophy thing. Oh no. Man, that's cool. I had a chance to go overseas when I was in high school. We had like a an abroad like study some kind of, not really a study abroad program, but like we would just spend like a month or two checking out different places and touring areas for a senior year of high school. But it was like $4,000, and for someone who was about to start college, that was like a little crazy. I see. It definitely seems like I could, like it definitely seems like something I would have heard in anthropology. Like I feel like that lends itself very well to like the study of cultures. That's good. Never stop traveling. I'm sure you know that. You know, it's good to see as much of the world as you can when you can. I did go to Washington, D.C. last year, and I had a great time there. I hated driving in Washington, D.C., but it was like culture shock in a good way. Oh, yeah. Um, like, I'm sure you know. I'm about to say something you already know. Like, a lot of people in other countries and other cultures, you know, they don't ever move away from home. Okay. Plutarch. I don't think I've heard of. I might be butchering that pronunciation. Plutarch. I don't think I've heard of that though. Oh man, I bet Italy is beautiful. Oh yeah, no, like there's some like pretty, like some really pretty places around here too. Like, if you ever get a chance, or if you have visited any of like Appalachia, the mountains are so pretty in Appalachia. Great hikes too. Gonna do something weird. I'm gonna shrink that. This is gonna be weird. We're gonna get a little weird. This works for me. Oh, yeah, it is. It is. I went to Florida once when I was really young. I don't remember anything other than palm trees. I've heard alligators good. There's like a place near me that served it briefly, and my friend said they really liked it. Oh yeah, I like how they sound like little lasers when they chirp. Okay, now let's get a vanishing point here. No, you're fine, dude. I'm just here hanging. I'm here to like chat and draw. Um, Sometimes I'm just like not the best at coming. I don't know. I'm To be perfectly transparent, I'm in that stage of streaming where I'm still trying to get used to it. Just talking while no one is like actually talk. No one's actually like audibly speaking back. So having someone up there like in the chat saying stuff helps a lot. All right. Simple shapes. I have to stick to simple shapes. It's important. Gothic arches for windows. Let's see. Good idea. Oh, Honestly, this is like just practice right now. Um, if I had to say anyone that, you know, built what I'm trying to design, it would just be the people of Alconia, like the Empire of Ice. But this is just like practice. Make some Gothic arches, sure. Time to see all of the imperfections. Hmm. Feels like that. That's kind of cool. I like that because it now because this is like a Transylvanian building, Transylvanian roof, and we're mixing aesthetics, or I guess design philosophies, architect. You're the architect major. You probably know the term better than me. Just like what makes something from like what makes something Gothic or what makes something Victorian. Yeah. Not loving how this little bit's looking. That's looking a little wrong. Truth be told, thinking of like let's say Zilverin, for example, in their architecture, they are not as advanced as Alconia. If Alconia is in the middle of their industrial revolution, then the Silver Folk and Zilverin are in the days of the frontier. You know, they still fur trap and hunt. Let me look at some Romanesque architecture. Architecture. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I see what you mean. Especially the roof. This is something I almost feel like you'd see in a more in a not in the main city, but maybe like a smaller city within Alconia. Like Lescott, the capital city, that's Gothic. They've got Gothic architecture there, and like not like Gothic mixed with something. Well, I mean, I guess like Gothic mixed with their own lore, but yeah, like pretty heavy Gothic. Oh yeah, lots more. Yeah. Hey, I see what you mean. This is like a pretty neat little design. What would it look like if it were war torn? Just thinking like a war with these albumancers firing blasts from their eyes, um, all this stuff going down, all this destruction. Yes, that's correct, Xiao. The witches marched their armies of force conscripted silver folk and undead into Alconia, and the ensuing war destroyed a lot of the landscape. A lot of just like the little towns, the little hamlets, crop fields. Yeah, yeah. I was looking at I was looking at a few of those. I think that I might have like some reference images of stuff like that in here right now. I'm also imagining that like a lot of the towns and buildings that were destroyed, the ones that you would typically see, are not quite as lavish as the ones you'd find in the capital. That's why I was like, I had some images of like the undead settlement from Dark Souls 3, just that shabby woodwork, twisting, imperfect buildings. So the wars start. The current canon that I'm going with right now, which is subject to change, it's it goes a little deep, so bear with me here. The Albumancers of Alconia get their mana, their white matter to cast spells from these things called white gates. They found one under the city, and they believe that there might be another one in the Zilverin Mountains. How else would these witches have access to such power? So they marched their numbers up there, thinking it would be simple. But as they soon found out, the more of their men died, the more could be resurrected for the army of the witches. And eventually, the witches' undead numbers rose so much that they were able to counter and march their own army into Alconia. And that's how the war started. Tell you what I've also been referencing is Beksinski's work. Just like he's got a lot of these like almost biomechanical looking cathedrals that he painted, and it kind of matches very well how I want the like how I want magical residue to look. Like if someone casts like a Duro spell, the hardening spell, the chitin would look a lot like that. So if someone like blasted a building with it, it would just be like covered in this like finger like growths. And it really, I feel like it would lend itself well to like a nightmare landscape. Yes, or silver folk to be exact. Oh yeah, no, that's very important. That's a bucket list thing. With the price of housing these days, I can believe it. Well, didn't do. I think that's gonna about call it for me. I need to start getting ready to go to sleep. But appreciate everyone sticking around. It's I don't want to say that I got a whole lot done this session, but it was nice to be able to draw some, I don't know, something different for once. I feel like having a an actual illustrated setting, the buildings, the land, the hills, the mountains, the battlefields, that's something that's been lacking. And I think that it would help a lot if I were to really sit down and focus on that kind of thing. But yeah, I appreciate everyone sticking around. I will try and stream sometime again soon, so keep a lookout. Hope everyone has a good day or night.